is full and perfect peace. All this transport, all divine, in a love which cannot cease. I am His, and He is mine. How great His love! Holy, 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 Lord God of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of thee. Heaven and earth are full of thee, O Lord most high. Birds and glad and song o'erflow, flowers with deeper beauty shine. Since I know, as now I know, I am His and He is mine. How great His love! Holy, 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 Lord God of hosts. Heaven and earth are full of thee. Heaven and earth are full of thee, O Lord most high. Beautiful. You may be seated. Today's daily word is loving. Again, today's daily word is loving. And our daily word will be read by Gail Bettis. Gail.
Good morning. And good morning to all those on Zoom. Today's daily word is loving. I am a loving, caring presence. Just as the sun shines on everyone and everything, I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. My kind words, welcoming smile, and compassionate actions all spring from the love that is part of my divine identity. Being a loving presence draws me closer to God and to all people. I want to share the love I have known throughout the seasons of my life, at heights and triumphs, and joy and the depths of loss and suffering. God is love, and so am I. No matter who I meet or what they're doing through or what they're going through, I am loving. I bring support, kindness, solace, and comfort, and share them lavishly, without thought of reciprocity. I am the hands and heart of God in the world. And the Bible passage, owe no one anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Romans 13:8. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you. In our daily word today, we read, God is love, and so I am. As in Romans 13:8, we add, owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Now we may ask, what is the law quoted here? In juxtaposition to God is love, and so we are. How often do you think and act as if people and places are unlovable? And you voice it, you say it out loud. How often in anger and sadness you deride your own loving nature? We tend to love those closest to us, sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, husbands and wives, but find fault or lash in anger on those we judge or view as different from us. Within the Bible, we find many parables that illustrate how love, as divine attribute, is pit against ego striving. In fact, love is often used as a commodity, bargain, or yield in human relationship. Such separation, as many claim love must be earned, is often the cause of many illnesses and misfortunes in our world. But let us begin with the premise: we are love. Love is our spiritual nature. In 1 Corinthians 13, 7 and 13, we read, "Love never gives up, never loses faith. It is always hopeful and endures through every circumstance. And now these things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." In the concentric perspective by Eric Butterworth, he explained, "You may have been conditioned to believe that love is a commodity that is given and received, and may feel that you haven't received much love." Furthermore, he explained, one of our unity principles is God is at all the whole of God's. God is present at every point in space and is present in entirety at the point where you are. All that we need is to become fully conscious of God's allness, a creative flow that emanates as natural from the center of you as radiation emanates from uranium. We love because God loved us, because God's love is within us, a focus of love being us. In point, love always flows forth from within to the degree that we let it. It is our purpose to be love, regardless of the reactions of people around you. The scripture on the Mount, 5, verse 44 through 45, illustrate what Jesus believed when he said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons." Within us, sometimes we engage in fierce battles against our emotion. But Jesus encouraged us to come to terms with your enemy, your emotions, and pray for those feelings that persecute you. Butterworth explained, trying to love is not love. Love is not trying, but being. There is one illustration found in the Bible about two priests traveling through the forest, about to cross a stream. In their teaching, they were commanded to remain pure, not to touch the flesh of the opposite sex. At the point of entry into a stream, they met a woman who pitifully cried to be helped in crossing the water, as she could not swim. One of the priests offered to help and promptly crossed the stream with the woman on his back. Gratefully, the woman thanked them and continued on her journey. However, the other priest berated his friend for breaking his vows. Such recrimination persisted for a long time. When tired of his rant, his friend stopped and responded, "I carry the woman for a short while, but you carry the woman for a very long time." It is not what people are doing to us, although you may have reason to be angry, fearful, depressed, or hurt, to justify in withholding your love indefinitely. But it is the emotional garbage that hold you hostage to love. Be careful of what you hold in consciousness. Butterworth proposes, you may not be able to help what you like, but you can help what you love. Love is a willingness to let God's love flow forth through you in the direction of your involvement. Miracles do happen through the experience of loving. And now, let us affirm I am a loving and caring presence. Let us repeat. I am a
am a
loving
loving,
and caring
caring
presence.
present.
Now let us
Sweet.
rise. Oh no, remain seated, it says here. Let us sing affirming hymn 173. Love is a magnet. Again, hymn 173. Love is a magnet. Remain seated. Love is a magnet that draws to me riches and good without end. Freely and full as a boundless sea, into my life they blend. Love in word, love in deed, springing from a heart divine. Love in me shall succeed, making abundance mine. Love of the Father abides in me, spreading its sweetness abroad, drawing to me in its current free all of the wealth of God. Love in word, love in deed, spring from heart divine. Love in me shall succeed, making abundance mine. Love in itself is a priceless gift, opulence freely expressed. Nearing the Father, the heart to lift, richly by love I'm blessed. Love in word, love in deed, springing from heart divine. Love in me shall succeed, making abundance mine. Love the singing. In our affirming prayer, in 1 Peter, we learn, above all, love each other deeply, because love covers all the multitude of sins. While in Romans 12, 9 through 10, it's told, just don't pretend to love others. Really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. The following poem exemplifies what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't envy. Love doesn't brag. Love is not proud. Love doesn't dishonor others. Love doesn't seek his own way. Love is not easily angered. Love doesn't take account of evil. Love doesn't rejoice in unrighteousness. Love rejoices in truth. Love bears all things. Love believes all things. Love endures all things. Found in Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. Now, let us all stand and sing hymn number 175, of love that knows no end. It's 122? Okay. So hymn 122 now. So what is it, the title? Love is the answer. 122, love is the answer. Love, love, love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Love, love, love is the answer. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Joy, joy, joy is the answer. Joy is the answer. Joy is the way. Joy, joy, joy is the answer. Joy is the answer. Joy is the way. While standing, let us repeat. We are love, and love never gives up. Again, we are love, and love never gives up. We are love, and love never gives up. We are love. Thank you all. And now, let us receive with a warm unity of Valley Stream welcome the returning Reverend John Sankovic. We are love, and love never gives up.
So you ready to do the Lord's Prayer? Yes. I'm ready. Oh, wait. The power of technology. Can't do anything without it now. You know, in the old days, my brother just used to sit on a boat, pull out to the middle of the water, and then he could just talk. But now we need this. I think it was a simpler time. Should ask Suzanne what it's like to be at the Sea of Galilee. We all should go there sometime. So, Mr. Hinton, whenever you're ready. Oh, okay, that's good. So now we'll say the Lord's Prayer. Say it. which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us as we forgive our debtors, and leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory Okay, now we're May the blessing of God rest upon you. May his peace abide with you. May his presence illuminate your heart now and And now and forevermore, let us recall that sense of peace within us. Exhaling all tension, toxins, anxieties, fears, and doubts. Inhaling the breath of life, of peace, and of love. A moment ago we sang, "Love is the answer." But what is the question in your heart that is looking for that answer? For it's time now for us to come within this sanctuary of peace, to leave outside whatever messages we have heard of strife, anguish, and fear, whether on the radio, TV, the newspaper, our phone, the social media that's meant to bring us closer together and yet seems to spread us further apart. For we are social beings. We are meant to be together. We are meant to be one. And so many of us question and wonder, how can this be? So let us take this time now, just as we breathe in the energy, the atoms of the world, and exhale our inner being, our life spirit, our life force. For the breath is called Pneuma, the spirit. And that spirit is in each and every one of us. For we know with each breath we can become more relaxed, more alert, but yet alert, still be alive and at peace. For it is the breath of life which brings us healing, which brings us love. For we know that the natural state of our mind is peace and calmness. And let's allow the forehead to relax, the muscles in our face, our lips, the jaw. Allowing the teeth to separate as the jaw muscles relax. Allow that throat power, the center power of throat, the center of power of the word, connected to the tongue. Allow the tongue and the throat to relax. As the breath flows smoothly and evenly down to the center of our body. Gently, softly, evenly, without any pauses or jerks between the inhalation and the exhalation. And let us once again affirm, the natural state of my mind is peace and calmness. The natural state of my mind is peace and calmness. The natural state of my mind is peace and calmness. And we allow these affirmations to rise from within as we hear them with our inner ear. The natural state of my body is health, soundness in all respects. The natural state of my body is health, soundness in all respects. The natural state of my body is health, soundness in all respects. The natural state of my affairs is order, success, and prosperity. The natural state of my affairs is order, success, and prosperity. The natural state of my affairs is order, success, and prosperity. And with each exhalation, any condition contrary to this disappears, as I now realize my natural perfection. Any condition contrary to the natural state of my mind, my body, my affairs, disappears as I now realize my natural perfection. For the natural state of my mind is peace and calmness. The natural state of my body is health, soundness in all respects. The natural state of my affairs is order, success, and prosperity. As I now realize my natural perfection. And in this being of natural perfection, the light of love and joy emanates from the center of our being, touching everyone here, everyone in our community, and all those in the world that we are connected with. And all those we hold in prayer, whose names and conditions have been released into our prayer box, are now encircled in the light of love and peace. And this prayer box, this manifestation of our light and love, joins us in the front of the room. And we see the light and love of spirit of each and every one of us here encircling these prayers, and we release them into divine light and love. And we see upon each and every one represented in these prayer requests and in our hearts. And we bless them and know, may the blessing of God rest upon you. May his peace abide with you. May his presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. And for this we give thanks. Amen. Thank you. And as we mentioned about Pneuma and the breath, our next song that we'll sing is hymn number 181. Breathe in me, breath of God. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I guess I just buzzed out, faded out. I know it's time for my talk. I'm sorry. I guess maybe I've said all that needs to be said. I don't know. But we got to figure out what to do with this echo. Is it because this thing is on? Or is it just too loud? It might be both mics are on. All right, now the echo, oh, it's still there. Well, while we're waiting for, oh no, we'll keep waiting. I don't know.
You
Maybe.
can't double
Let me
mic.
turn this one off. You know. Okay, how are we now? Can you hear me, Willie? No, Willie, okay, there we go. That's better. All right, that's enough. That should be loud enough, right? Okay, good. Well, anyway, it's really great to be back here. And hello to all our friends on Zoom. And we're going to have a nice little chat this morning. You know, when I first thought about what I would speak about this morning, you know, everything was love. And I was going to use that idea of it's July. July is the month of freedom, and we're free to love. And then I got a different inspiration. And, you know, when you come in, you see God is love. And probably we've heard the word love about 1,000 times this morning already. I'm like, whoa, good thing I changed my title to Living in the Tree of Life. Make it a little bit different. Because I also thought while I was sitting there, given it was a hot summer day, you should have a chat with Reverend Charles, who spoke with me this morning, and he's having a great time in Florida, where it is cooler there than it is today. And they had a great party yesterday for Grandma, and everybody's doing well, so today's a barbecue, and he sends everyone his love and blessings. But what he should have told us was, today was the day we should have all came in with love t-shirts on. Forget about these jacket and ties, taking the Long Island Railroad with a tie on. Come on, it's a hard day. But anyway, it's great. All of you should have gotten one of these booklets, which fits in with your theme this year, 22, Review and Renew. This is an old Unity booklet, Letters of Spiritual Counseling, and all these letters in here are from Myrtle Fillmore. They're all from letters that she wrote to somebody about, like I just opened this up, my sister has throat difficulty. Practical Christianity, huh? My sister has a throat difficulty. So that's where we're at on this idea that what we're supposed to say today and think about is practical. Living in the tree of life. When you hear that phrase, living in the tree of life, or even the tree of life, what do you think of? I don't know about you, but most of the time when I think about trees and the Bible and religion, I don't really think about the tree of life. I think about this tree where they said, you really aren't supposed to eat that fruit. Because if you eat that fruit, it's going to ruin everything. The fruit, and we don't know what happened, but the one thing that we always forget about that story is, why did Adam and Eve eat from the tree? Why did they eat that apple? Some people would say that they ate from that tree because the devil made me do it, right? But if you really look at it, when we talk about in unity, we talk about consciousness. What is the idea behind the actions that we take? And what was the consciousness that Adam and Eve wanted? What did the devil use to convince them that they should eat of that tree? That they could be like God. They could be like the Father. They wanted to be like him. And what child, somewhere in their life, doesn't want to be like their parents? Later on we say, no, I don't want to be like my parents, never, never, never. And then, of course, we say, oh my God, I sound just like my mother, I sound just like my father. But there is a time when we wanted to be just like our parents, that natural state. So if we think about what is that natural state, why in the book of Revelation do we start hearing about the tree of life? What is that all about? Now, I know a while ago you did a book study here on Revelation. And maybe you talked about the tree of life in that book study, or maybe you didn't. But one of the things that I find very interesting about Revelations is that Revelations is about what? An inner experience. Something that's going on in our consciousness. And the thing that we need to remember is that what's going on in our consciousness is going on in somebody else's consciousness. Whether it's our friend, our family, whether it's the people in the Unity Church, whether it's in the people in the church around the corner, down the block. If you live in Brooklyn, there's a church on every corner. There's always people gathering together because we have this need, this desire for spirituality. And some of you, I know, because Unity, we're broad-minded, have probably studied yoga. And yesterday, one of my friends in a discussion mentioned to me that he was speaking with a yogi who was an expert in Nadi yoga, which is the yoga of sound. And if you think about it, in Christianity, we talk about our prayers, the power of the word, the power of sound. And what he was telling me is that this yogi told him that One of the things that Revelations corresponds with the science of Nadi Yoga, the power of the science of sound. And if you think about it in Revelations, there's the thunderclaps and all this noise, and then also ultimately, what happens after that thunder? Silence. And in unity, what do we always talk about? Let's go into the silence. Let's become one. So even for the Hindus, the yogis, the power of silence is there for them. Totally different culture. But what are they compared to us? The same. They're all human. There's the human consciousness. So how do we use this idea of the human consciousness to allow us to go forward, to allow us to bring peace on earth? We heard Cruz this morning give a wonderful lesson and talk about love, and quoting Eric Butterworth, one of the most prolific authors in unity. And I always wonder who's going to be the Eric Butterworth of our generation, the next generation. Who's going to be the writer? Who's going to get that word out? And it might be one of us, or it might be one of the kids in our kids program. Who knows? That's a question we can leave open to. But what is this whole idea? We all hear about love. Love your neighbor as yourself. I was going to use the quote that you will know, and it's a song, you'll know that you're part of me because you love one another. People would know you were a Christian because you loved one another. How did Christians get the name Christian? They got it. It was a derision. Because you know what those Christians did back in those Roman times? With all those, Jewish Pharisees and all that? They were taking care of the widows and the orphans. How dare they? What were they doing? Because if you remember, when we did our blessing this morning, what came to mind for you when you heard these words? May the blessing of God rest upon you. May his peace abide with you. And Mr. Hinton played that melody. What came to mind for you? This can be interactive. I don't have to give a lecture here. Anybody can just chime in. Any movies come to mind? No? Okay. Anybody here see Fiddler on the Roof? And do you remember, what did they do on, I think it was a Friday night? And they had the candles, and they did this, and they started singing a song. And at least to me, I think they sang that song in the movie. Now, I could be wrong, because you saw me fade out a little bit. Mr. Hinton probably knows better than me. But that's what I think of, the Jew at the Sabbath. And they're singing their song. And maybe it was just the same theme, I don't know, but that's what came to mind. And what is it at a meal? That's when people get together, when they share. One of the interesting things this week, Suzanne made a transition, and the deacon came. And he's starting to give his talk. And, we're going to do prayers. And he told us something very profound. Do you know that there is more of Jesus and love in a meatball than there is at the church on Sunday morning? This is an Italian saying, but he can't say it, I can't say it in Italian either. But he said, if you think about it, for Italians, and this is just for Italians, but I know it's for everybody, a lot of different families, they get together and they have a meal. And what is that meal? That food is love, it's the getting together. And what is Jesus, what is the consciousness of God? Is that love, the getting together, once again being in the meal. One of our hit TV shows this past few years ends almost every episode with the family at Sunday dinner. Right? This whole idea of everybody coming together. The consciousness, the light, and the love. So if we're thinking about it, to come back to this idea of the tree of life and this being some type of a consciousness, metaphysical experience, what the heck could they be talking about? If you remember, when we did our meditation before the service, I used a little bit of the quote from the 23rd Psalm. And what happens at the 23rd Psalm? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside still waters. Now, this is the Old Testament. In the New Testament, in Revelation, in the Message version, it says, "Then the angel showed me water of life river, crystal bright. It flowed from the throne of God and the Lamb right down the middle of the street. The tree of life was planted on each side of the river, producing 12 kinds of fruit, a ripe fruit each month. The leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. Never again will anything be cursed. The throne of God and of the Lamb is at the center. His servants will offer God service, worshiping. They'll look on his face, their foreheads mirroring God. Never again will there be any night. No one will need lamplight or sunlight. The shining of God, the Master, is all the light anyone needs, and they will rule with him age after age after age." So in Revelation, the end of the New Testament is starting with a similar idea. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He lays me down beside still waters. Later on, he prepares a feast for me in the presence, the meal of my enemies. If we take that idea, a feast in the presence of my enemies, this is something that relates to us every day. Now, enemies, if we look at this, we could talk about metaphysical Bible interpretation, metaphorical Bible interpretation. Think of it as a metaphor. Every day, we have enemies to our mind. During a day, is there ever a day that goes by where something you don't read in the newspaper, see on TV, doesn't try to, what's the right word, to upset your mental state of peace? That is the enemy of your mind, of your peace, of your knowing your connection to spirit. Right? There's one of the poets said, the slings and arrows of indignation. Right? Enemies is not necessarily, somebody out there trying to get you. Though just because people call you paranoid doesn't mean there isn't somebody out to get you. The thing is, there are little things that come to make us anxious. Has there ever been a time when all of a sudden you realized, oh wow, my shoulders are really tight? What was going on in your mind? Or your brow gets furrowed. Isn't it interesting that in this quote, he says, we'll get back to it, about the forehead. About the, I can't find it, it's hiding. Their foreheads mirroring God. And what is it when you're relaxed? Your forehead is nice and smooth. And for a mirror to truly reflect something, what does it need to be? It needs to be smooth. So what is it that we need to do every day, more than once a day, to smooth out our forehead, to become peaceful again? So we can have the look of God on our face to somebody else. Have you ever had anybody say to you, "What's the matter?" And you go, "What? Nothing. I don't know. No." And they go, "Oh, well, you had this look on your face." And you're like, "Okay, I don't know." It's happened to me several times. And which means obviously we know things that go on in our mind get reflected in our face, and sometimes our face makes faces, and people look and say, "Oh, you were thinking this," and you're like, "No, it had nothing to do with what was really going on in here." It's a really interesting thing, this canvas of our face. So what is it that we need to make ourselves calm and peaceful? How do we connect with that river, the water of life river? And we know Jesus used that phrase all the time. I'm the water, let me give you water so you shall not thirst. The woman at the well story. which you can look up. I'm not going to give all these Bible stories today, but we know, there are things are there if we want to take the time to become still and to learn. So the thing is, when we think about it, what is it? For me, for the summertime, and when I think living in the tree of life, I remember being a child. Now, I grew up in the Bronx, and all our houses they were all attached, little small single-family houses, all attached. But the interesting thing about my block was the street behind me had nothing. It wasn't built up yet. So it was all trees. Think of a city block long. And we called it the woods. We're from the Bronx. What do we know? We didn't know. It was the woods, and there was big trees in it and all that. And what did we do? We built a house, a tree house. A house in the trees, right? And then we would play there. The tree of. So when I think of this idea of building a house in the tree of life, how do we build our own tree house in the tree of life? How do we connect to that tree to hold it on? One year in our tree house, a squirrel used it as a nest and gave birth to new squirrels. The perfect metaphor, the tree and the tree of life and new life coming, these little things happen. And because somebody took the squirrel out of the nest, my uncle who worked for the ASPCA said, that's it, that squirrel is gone. The mother's going to sense the smell of a human on it. It's not going to come near it. So for a little while, I had that squirrel in my basement, and I used to feed it, condensed milk and stuff to try to keep it alive and all. But this whole idea, the tree of life, how do we connect with that tree? And so many times I would go into that woods and play with my friends. That was life, being together, having fun, growing up together. I had my first and last cigarette in that woods. Little did I know my mother could see out the back window, right into the woods, right to the rock where we were sitting. And I was having my cigarette. So when I came home, my father is sitting in his chair. I don't know about you guys. Did your father have a chair that he sat in? And he says, come here, sit down next to me. And then he goes, here, you want a cigarette? And I was like, what am I going to do? And he said to me, he says, listen, I don't want you ever to hide anything from me. You want a cigarette? You come and sit down, but be a man and have a cigarette. You want to have a drink? You have a drink. None of it, don't go, I don't want you hiding in the woods or hiding this and hiding that. So of course, I was so embarrassed, reverse psychology, I never smoked again. But that's, the love of a father and our experiences in this woods. And we were in the woods. We wonder, what the heck's going on? So in the tree of life, what do we need to do? We have to be open to these stories, to these life experiences. Generally, the tree, metaphysically, is the connection between heaven and earth. It makes sense. The roots into the earth, the leaves go up into the heavens. What do the leaves on a plant do? Or leaves on a flower? They take the energy from the heavens, from the light, and they photosynthesis, they make it into the life on earth. The trees are our connection with spirit. The idea that the tree of life is in the middle of the garden, in the midst of everything, the middle of the road, is trying to show us that there's this absolute life principle. This principle of life is in us. So I'm going to give you a minute. There's going to be some silence, so don't get nervous. It's okay. But just think for a minute, because what's really important is not what I tell you about these stories or what these metaphors mean, but what do they mean to you? So when you think about the tree of life in your life right now, let's just take a moment and think about it. What does it represent itself? What in your life could represent that? So when you think about that tree of life, or if you're a gardener, a person who's a gardener, you have your tomato plants and the corn or different things. What do you need to do with that plant? Or if you have the bush, the tree in your garden, you have to care for it. You have to work with it. So if we have this tree of life, this tree has the sap running in it, the life energy is always there. absolute, omnipresent in your life, what do you need to connect with that tree? To make it grow, to make it be strong in your life, right here, right now. Do you need to add something to it? Do you need to add fertilizer to it? Is there something you need to take away? We've heard about pruning. In Unity, we pray, it's pruning. We have our denials and our affirmations. So what do you have to say? Okay, this has no more power over me. The news repeating the same story over and over again, be gone. Which reminds me, Peter. Who was Peter? The man of faith. But yet, what did Jesus say the one time? Well, actually, he was kind of upset with Peter twice. Once in the Garden of Gethsemane when he cut the guy's ear off. But there was another time when Jesus was talking about how life could be, how he was going to fulfill his mission. And Peter said, nah, you can't do this. You're not going to be able to do this. What did Jesus say to Peter? Get behind me, Satan. You ever tell somebody you really love, call them something really bad, like get behind me, Satan? So even though Peter was the man of faith, get behind me, shut up. I don't want to listen to this anymore. Maybe we need to say that to these enemies outside of us that are trying to get us all upset. How is this going to be? The world is coming to an end. We're now regressing back to the way it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Pretty soon we're not going to have fire. We're not going to have the wheel anymore. We're going to, we're devolving here. Whatever's going on, right? Everything is an existential crisis. It's a threat to democracy. All these words to get our emotions out. And like any good conspiracy theory, always remember this. There's always a little bit of truth in a good conspiracy theory. So if somebody says something about this is a threat to democracy and you say, no, it isn't, they'll be able to find something to show you, well, maybe it is. There's always a little bit of truth there. So what is that really telling us? Put it aside. Let it go. We talk about pray and move your feet. Pray first and move your feet. So we become still, we think, and then we move. So if we believe that there's this river of life that we're all tied to, and there's the tree of life that's connected between us and God, how are you going to spend your time? Are you going to water the weeds, or are you going to water the tree of life? What is the tree of life? Where are those seeds? Your family, your friends, your grandchildren, your children's friends. One of the things that Suzanne and I really like to hear the best about the block where we live now is starting to have kids on it again. And for a long time there were no kids. Now new families are moving in and there are kids playing in the street. It's a great sound. And the thing is to remember, how do we connect with the tree of life? Can we drink of the water of life? It said, on each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. The metaphor. We could do a whole talk on the 12 fruits and 12, all that, but what is it? It's the year. Every day, every month of the year, it gives us something. Something a little bit different. It's not the same. So what do we need to do? We need to be alive. We need to be alert, inquisitive. Jesus said, become like a child. When I was a child, I ran in the woods. It was only 1 block long, but it was huge to me. It was like any state park you could have, but it was only a block. Become like a child. Enjoy that. Be inquisitive. So how can you today be a child again? What will happen this afternoon where you can be happy again? Seeing an old friend, having dinner with your family. Maybe it's just sitting down in the air conditioning, opening a book, or maybe even taking a nap. Whatever it is, what will nourish your soul, give you the energy They say that people's willpower, we're going to eat better, we're going to exercise better, we're going to have all this. We lose our willpower when we become tired. We need to be refreshed. And in the 23rd Psalm and in Revelations 22, what does God give us? The water. He leads me behind be still waters. He refreshes my soul. He prepares the meal. God in Spirit is giving you what you need if you're willing to take time. Every metaphor is the person is learning to become still. And we can dance. Dance is okay. So we're now going to go out and dance. We're going to have some fun. We're going to spread and be part of the tree of life. And what fruit will you pick from the tree of life this afternoon? Let Reverend Charles know so he can tell me. Have a great day. Thanks. Okay. Now we can breathe in me, the breath of God. Remember our meditation affirmation. The natural state of my mind is peace and calmness. Okay, 181. Number 181, breathe in me the breath of God. Fill me with that I may love what thou dost love, dost do. Thank you. All right, so now we come to our time, our offertory time. And it's interesting, the gifts that we give are actually our love in expression, our light in expression. For the gifts that we give allow us to be here this morning, to be a part of our community, to support those that need our support. So I'd like to invite each and every one of you now to take your offering and hold it, and we'll do our blessing. I'll say it first and then we can say it together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Let's say that together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Amen. Thanks. We'll do the announcements? Okay. Oh. Yes. Well.
Our announcements. First, our acknowledgement. A heartfelt thanks to Rosita and her team of volunteers last week's Birthday Sunday Fellowship. Your service blesses our church. Thank you so much. And our current events. Friday, August 19th, 2022, the book discussion group will be discussing The Book Woman's Daughter by Kim Richardson. Saturday, August 20th at 10 a.m., Lessons in Truth by Emily Cady. We'll be discussing lessons 11 and 12, Spiritual Gifts and Unity in Spirit. Sunday, August 21st, believe it or not, it will be another birthday Sunday and potluck fellowship. Please sign up to bring a dish for the table. Volunteers for setting up and cleaning up would be greatly appreciated. The book room will reopen in August. We have a prayer chaplain online training course, which will be September 12th through October 15th, 2022. This will be the last course offered for 2022. This is a 5-week course with a required weekly live virtual Zoom session. Register at lightandloveministries.org. We are collecting eyeglasses for donation. There's a box located in the Activity Center for worn prescription eyeglasses. All glasses will be repaired, refurbished, and donated to the Lions Club in Lee's honor. For more information, please see Ellen Davis. Amazon Smile. Amazon will donate 5% of the price of your eligible purchases to the charitable organization of your choice. Unity Valley Stream is on the Amazon list for organizations. To use, please go to smile.amazon.com and you'll have to search for our organization. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Great morning. Just 2 quick notes. On behalf of the board, I want to say thank you to all of the beautiful new faces that are doing our announcements and are reading our daily word, and that there's room for everyone. I'll put it out there. And secondly, I just wanted everyone to know, for our own safety, David and Mercedes left. And aside from there just being 2 holes, there are several holes. It's not just the soloist and the book room. So that the church now opens at 9:15. Because we need someone to be there to be able to greet people. We just can't leave it barren, so that we're asking for your cooperation, your patience, your understanding, and your calm, so that if you get here before 9:15, just kind of hang out in the garden or hang out in your car in the air conditioning. But know that by the time you come in here by 9:15, there'll be people here to greet you, okay? And again, it's really for all of our safety. Thank you.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so when I was giving out the booklet before, I said that there would be a test. All right, so here's the test. It's not about the booklet. There's something going on in this church every month, just like the tree of life, giving its fruit every month. What is it? Exactly, the birthday fellowship. See that? Very good, all right. So people do listen to your announcements, Linda. All right, great. Why don't we bless our offerings, give thanks. Freely I receive, freely I give. My love through me, this is all that I have, all that I give and receive. Father, we give thanks for these offerings, these blessings, these gifts to our ministry that come here in person, come online, in the mail, through all different means. We give thanks for the service to our community by our volunteers, who without them, a Sunday service, this community would not exist. We see them blessed with light and with love and peace, and know that we behold the Christ in them, and for this we give thanks. Amen. Amen. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a brothers all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. All right, let's do the prayer of protection with the I am affirmations. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, for I am divine. May the blessing of God rest upon you. May his peace abide with you. May his presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. And may you forever eat and live in the tree of life. Amen.